crew would receive the order from the President through an emergency action message. It would originate with the Joint Chiefs of Staff. They would format it, encode it. It would go out to all the nuclear forces. And in this case here, Strategic Air Command, located in Omaha, Nebraska at Offutt Air Force Base, Underground Command Center. SAC had 3 numbered air forces, 2nd, 8th, 15th Air Force, located throughout the country. Our 15th Air Force here was located in Riverside, California at March Air Force Base. Same setup the SAC had, it's backup. So from those 2 locations, through these 2 speakers here, and the 2 over here, the crew would receive a launch, the emergency action messages. They received a lot of those. They never knew what they were until they decoded. Primary alerting system was used. They would receive a loud warbling tone. The warbling tone would get their attention. Hey, grab a copybook. You are cleared for top secret, right?
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, these are emergency acting, they're copybooks. So the message would sound a lot like this. Now, warbling tone, you're going to hear it, you're going to get your attention. So the message would be read to the crews twice. Okay, after the second read through, they'd ask for an acknowledgement. The crew would acknowledge receipt if they had a good copy. During the second read through, they actually exchanged the books so they could verify they both copied the same alphanumerics. This took 2.5 to 3 minutes. Now the decoding process started. They decoded the preamble. The preamble of the message, the first part of it, decoded to a launch order. They had permission to go ahead and open that red safe. Okay, once they opened the red safe, they would have to pull that sealed authenticator the President used to authenticate that launch order. This is simulation. They were about the same size as like these. There's about 6 of them in there or so. They were plastic coated. You had to break them open. And when you broke them open, the first 2 characters were in that message. That's the one they pull out. They break that one open, and the other characters inside there had a match with what they copied. And if they did, you had a good authentic order to launch the Titan II. And if it didn't match, you didn't do anything. The next thing you had to determine is when we're going to turn keys here and launch this missile toward its target. You don't do it just right away. Why? Because you got other weapon systems going to target. You got fratricide to worry about. You got to make sure you're sending your missile over there at the right time. So the crew had timing plans here in the drawer. And using the time in the message, they would determine when to launch the Titan II. And when they did, they wrote it right here, so the entire crew knew when they were supposed to turn keys for this site. The next thing they did, they got the code for that valve. The analyst technician would thumb wheel it in. You got a green light, you're ready to go. Time came to launch. Commander would have his key inserted here. The deputy would have your keys over here, right here. Okay. Okay, you can stand up over there because you're going to have to turn the key. You ready? All right. So these keys are far enough apart you can tell that it takes 2 people to do this. You can't do it by yourself because they have to be turned within 5 seconds and held for a while, or they won't work. 2 seconds and 5, so you're not going to be able to do it. Okay, crew, you ready? Put your left hands on the key. I'll give you. Put your hand on the key. You can turn it. Okay, there you go. I'm going to say 3, 2, 1, launch. When I say launch, turn your keys and hold them for 5 seconds. You ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1, launch. Turn your keys and hold them. You're going to see some lights come on up here. Crew, and when you do, you can sit back and relax. Sit back and relax, release your keys. You started something, you can't stop. There is no oops button here. Okay? You got 2 green lights here. That's a good indicator because that means everything's okay. The next light says batteries are being activated. 228-volt batteries that were installed dry when the guidance system not being force-fed electrolyte for the first time in 28 seconds. The next light comes on, the crew knows that the missile's on its own internal power. During that time, the silo closure door now is opening. Okay, it's sliding through that radar beam, and when it does, it's going to set off an alarm, and water will start to flood level 9 to reduce the noise so they can launch the Titan II. Okay, now we have guidance says go. Guidance system says go. Now the commander knows the guidance system's ready to go, knows where it's supposed to go and what it's supposed to do. The next thing we're going to hear is a loud klaxon. That means we have fire at level 9. Stage 1 engine is started. 4 seconds later, if everything goes, it's liftoff. The missile's on its way to the target. It took 58 seconds. From the time you turned